Um, okay, I promised one of the students that I'd record today. Oh, look, my camera's working now. It's gonna stop at some random weird position, though, of course. Um, but yeah, so okay, almost afraid to look into it. Okay. Yeah. So, you guys can hear me, okay, though, right? That's much more important. I'm gonna show some videos. Okay. So yeah, I want us to talk about ethos and ethics, right? We've talked about ethos before. What do you guys remember? Like, what it was it? What was it? What subject matter did we discuss it as part of ethos? Raj, were you answering? Yeah. Okay. We did discuss this, right? Like, ethos, and then what are the other two? Yeah. Yeah. Right. And what are those three things? Oh, okay. Yeah, you described each every all three of them. That was great. Okay, and the other two? Yes. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, great. And then what are all three? Like, what do we call the three of those? Yes. Right. Rhetorical strategies. And pardon? Yeah. And so, actually, I'm gonna back up a bit. So, those are rhetorical strategies, right? And in this course, we do basically three types of writing. One of them is literary analysis, which you guys are all doing for tomorrow, where you're just examining text, right? So it's all about thinking about meaning, right? The meaning of words, how they relate to each other, the effect that words have on people, which also, um, is part of the whole relationship of, um, well, that plays a role in the meaning of the word, the affect that it has, right? What is the other type of academic writing that we're going to be doing right after? Um, it's the one that will require the most research, the most formal research. Yes, right? Critical analysis. And then rhetorical rhetoric is really just the old fashioned term for it, right? So, in preparation for that, I'd like us to, think about these three strategies, because they're almost more, you could think of them more as modalities as well, right? Modalities of rhetoric. It would, in a way, it would sound awkward to call them modalities of critical thinking, just because that word has now had its own sort of trajectory and a different lineage. But does that make sense? Like, there are these three different modalities of rhetoric that rhetoric kind of loosely synonymous with critical thinking. What do you guys think of that? Does that make sense? Because, oops, um, so yeah, does that make sense? Like, so if well, what's rhetoric? Because I know it's kind of an old-fashioned word, but we have talked about how it's related to, the more modern word critical thinking. which has its own, like I said, it has its own lineage, which veers more towards logic and logos. So it's not quite synonymous, but I know it won't be an unfamiliar word for everybody. What's rhetoric? You can Google it. What? Raj, you have the answer? Huh? um, Anybody want to chat GPT it or Google it? Yes. Yeah, it's so old fashioned. It has like, yeah, yes, right? Okay, so it's about having an argument, right? It's about it's persuasive writing. And this is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but when you're writing your critical analysis paper, what's kind of at the heart of it? And it's okay if there's no answer yet in the room because we haven't started talking about this. But it will be learning activity too. If you want to look on Moodle. Yes, right. Thesis seems like a fancy word. It is kind of related to theory, right? This and theory. What's that? I keep asking all these questions. I am getting trying to go somewhere. What's theory? Yes, right. Yeah, it is right. The theory is something. Yeah, keep going. What? No, that's mhm. N- pardon. Great. Yes. And you know what? Even just those words, theory of something, is kind of a good way to think of theory in a way, right? It's a way. It's trying to understand. So it's trying to understand something, understand its properties, perhaps understand its reality. So it is the of something, right? It's like a kind of property of something. Have any of you read The Handmaid's Tale? And how all the women are like of this like whatever man they belong to. Yeah. Oh, the quiz. Okay, that will be based on the course material we've done so far. Always that. That's why I don't make them ahead of time. Yeah. Yeah. Always questions on the articles as well. Pardon? Okay, yeah, we did the zombie one, right? Where we talked about the ethics of taking care of intellectually disabled people. You know, how the law has a kind of prejudice against them, a built in prejudice. Like people, we know this from case studies where people have killed intellectually disabled people and it was considered a mercy killing. Okay, well, you know what? I'll just get to the point. I know this is an awkward setup for a class. Pardon? Um, yeah, okay, so there with rhetoric, right? You are trying to it's persuasive writing. And did we talk earlier about how there's the four types of writing? There's descriptive writing, where you are trying to engage the senses of the reader. There's narrative writing. Pardon? Pardon? What? Hmm. Which one? Hmm? Um. We're, let's see. Yes. Yeah. So what that Furious was trying to do is, really provoke, like really provoke her audience by, such an extreme analogy, right? The extended metaphor that she uses for a whole page. Because did you guys find that gripping? Yeah, okay. You know what? I will just get actually to the point with the just the main outline of what I wanted to present to you guys because it's difficult to uh, have a conversation with the whispering. Are you guys what's up? Pardon? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you just okay to prepare for the quiz on Friday, but also remember it's open book, and you get the whole day. So if you come across a question from one of the readings and you haven't read it yet, then just take the opportunity to go read it, right? Because then you have the whole day to do it. And then you also have two chances. I think maybe three chances. Um, Okay, so I just will give the main idea of what I wanted to talk about, and then I'll let you guys go early. But try to think about it because it really will get to the heart of what we'll be doing with critical analysis, right? And critical analysis, and actually really thinking about it more in its bigger, almost really more traditional um, way, I think. Because the rhetorical strategies we've talked about, ethos, pathos, logos, right? If we think of those more as modalities, rather than strategies, then we can think of them as ways to actually be thinking. So with ethos, it's everything. Sorry. I'm sorry to be so distracted by the whispering. I just want to make sure everyone's. Are we on the same page, more or less? Hmm? Okay. We'll go deeper into this when I can be in person after reading week. But let's think of rhetorical strategies more as modalities than strategies. So more as ways of thinking, rather than ways of presentation of thought. So with ethos, does that make sense? Might be kind of like really abstract words, but what that means is we'd be constructing realities that we'd be sharing, trying to present theories, present, this is like the way of something, this is the property, or the truth of something, even though that is kind of a big risky word to use in general. And let's use each of those three modalities. Let's call them. We'll call them strategies when we're working on our actual writing, and polishing up its eloquence for its persuasiveness. But let's think of them as three different ways to really be constructing the reality of the world. So, ethos will be um, looking at the world in terms of like morality, right? Right or wrong. And then logos, what would you guys just kind of intuit that would be? Because it won't be much different than thinking about it as the strategy. Yes, right? Yeah, like the world in terms of a kind of empiricism, like what could actually be proven, in terms of logical mathematical principles. We'll like develop these ideas more. And then how about pathos though? And for this, okay, no problem. Thanks so much, Michelle, for everything in first name. Okay, so for pathos, Um, what would you guys just intuit, perhaps? If we wanted to think of it not so much as a strategy to convince people of our view, but say a modality to think of the construction of the world as the construction of reality. What would that involve? And like any guess? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's why the library comes so soon. I'm just looking at my calendar because we need to be able to research, like find valid research really soon by the end of February. Unless, we think that's too early, we can push it back a bit. But yeah, there's two skills we really have to develop for the annotated bibliography. One, of course, Michelle has really been has helped us with, right? And that's to find valid scholarly research. The other, though, is to craft research questions. And we don't have to go too far into these yet because this is a first year course. But when you craft a research question, when you create any sort of research design, you do it with a certain theoretical approach to the construction of the world or to, the construction or beingness of whatever it is that you are actually examining or that exists within what you're examining. I know that was all sounded too abstract, not enough examples, but does that make sense? Oh, okay. So, um, does it or does anyone have a question? Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Pardon? Oh no, that's yeah. Um, so I'll get that back to you in a week. And the annotated bibliography, totally different type of work. Like we do three different types of academic writing. The only one we don't do, ironically, is the one that probably a lot of you will end up doing if you go further in academia, because a lot of you are like in the social and health sciences, right? Yeah, so you would do like actual like work on research papers where your experimental designs really involve uh, quantitative measurement. Um, but okay, so but I know there's a lot of words that will become more familiar. I promise, like as we go forward. Okay, but what? So you feel like that's too soon? You're saying? Hmm? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah. Um, yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And you know what? It's what really is happening with it, well, with this course is we will now kind of be leaving literary analysis behind. Even though, we put so much effort into it, talked so much, say about the importance of words in terms of their meaning, the effect they can have on people. We won't leave a lot of that behind because that is still important, right? Taking positions and defending them. But what we're working towards now is not focused so much on words themselves, but also the kind of really the construction of reality they represent. Yeah. What do you guys think? There's yes. Yeah. Okay, good. Did you look at the sample paper? Is that why you asked that? Okay, great. Yeah, that was a smart move. Everyone, it's a good idea. If you feel stressed about this course, just have a look at the sample papers. A lot of the other English instructors don't show those anymore, just because too many people copy them. But I feel it's good to have models. So if you looked at the sample paper for the annotated bibliography, then you understand there's two main components to it. And even though the research question is so short, like I'm a student too, and I have to craft research questions as well, and they will just be say a sentence or two, but they take hours of reading and so much thinking. Yeah. That's what it evolves into. Yeah, and and Michelle showed us how once you have the research question, you use the words and ideas in it to make your search right for sources. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And so you know what? I actually I take back what I said about the fact that we don't do research because we will do that. It's just that the type of research we are doing is in support of a certain construction of reality. And that may, I mean, I am saying that in maybe too like grandiose philosophical words, but that really is what we're doing with ethos, with pathos as well. And let's go back to that one. So pathos as a modality, what does that maybe suggest to you guys? Well, what is it as a strategy? Yes, right? Emotions and passions. And what so and let's just go further into that. So what stirs up and causes our emotions and passions? What? Pardon? Yeah. Yes. Right? Did you say social what? Right. Yeah. Oh, for sure, right? That's why you can like use logos, pathos, ethos, use them all together because things the information can maybe trigger a certain imaginative or I don't know, hopeful, some sort of experience of feeling. So okay, so that's a good way to be still be thinking about rhetorical strategy. But so then, as a modality, as a way of experiencing the world, how do you think? What kind of construction of the world would that be? Let's just try to package this one, and then you can go. Okay, so I know. Okay, it's yeah, it is maybe a bit too abstract at this point. So I'm just thinking instead of thinking of rhetorical strategies as ways to move, opinion, as ways to like operate or to do things, thinking of them as modes, as modalities, ways of being in the world or ways of understanding the construction of reality. With ethos, it's easy, right? We are thinking of constructions of reality that are based on morality, right? And then with logos, what would that be like? What sort of constructions of reality would logos signify? Yeah, logic, empirical. Yes, exactly, right? Logic, like empirical. What? Yes, right? Um, hmm? Yeah. Oh, for sure. Things that are true or taken to be true. Um, okay, so with pathos, I know. Okay, this one might not be intuitive enough to just, you know, pull out of the air. But the hint that I will push you all to is that a lot of indigenous cultures will tend to kind of construct realities in the way I'm trying to, and in the way that I'm thinking we can consider pathos as um, as a modality instead of a strategy. Yeah, storytelling would be a way of expressing it. But what I'm kind of suggesting is, a way of constructing reality that is about relationships. It's about relationality. The things that actually really will cause, like, stir the passions. The things we really care about. Does that make sense? It's a suggestion, but I want us to work with it, um, because we are going to be in a way theory makers when we're crafting research questions so that we can create theses. Does that make sense? We have because to do that we have to be looking at the world in a certain way, to be asking a question of it. What do you guys think? Yes, right. So it'd be like, yeah, how it affects the world. It'd be the like manipulated variable in the in the independent variable of the world, or maybe it's the other way around. I'm not a very sciencey person. Definitely more English. But does that make sense? We're gonna be creating constructions of the world, um, in order to ask certain questions, in order to be taking a certain stance on what we think the construction of reality is in some way, in terms of an ethical way, in terms of a relational way, or perhaps in terms of a logical way. So I'll just leave that because I know that was a bit abstract and you guys seem distracted, or maybe it's distracting to me. So, yeah, great question. Okay, that is a great question. No, the evidence itself will just be peer reviewed research, right? So it'll be research that we know has gone through the scholarly process, which is actually modeled on the scientific process. Um, what? But yeah, so what I think you were referring to, that analysis of the idea, how to interpret the evidence, that will have some strategy to it, and it will be related to one of the three modalities. It will be related to, say, the whole construction of reality that is part of the theory or thesis statement. Is that more confusing? Okay, I'm sorry. We will unconfuse ourselves. Okay, so I'll let you go. But Bridget, can I talk to you quickly? Nothing bad. I just want to. Everyone else, you can go. And have a great reading week. I'm sure we're all looking forward to that. Oh, sorry, Sonia. Can I talk to you for a sec? Wrong person. Yes. Yeah. You guys have reading week is next. Oh no, no. We still have what? Yeah. Reading week is next week, and then we're working towards the annotated bibliography. So we really will have to really it won't be too difficult actually to get our learn to craft research questions. But actually, you know what? I might put that back. I think the research part would be easy, but the crafting of the question is philosophical. It really will have that sort of foundation to it. Okay, so I'll see you guys next week. I'm Sonia. Sonia, can I talk to you for a sec? I just have a quick question for you. Over here. Okay, see you guys.